Begin today with breaking news. A major legal battle involving Mike Lindell has come to an end. The voting technology company, formerly known as Dominion Voting Systems, now operating as Liberty Vote, has agreed to dismiss a $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit against Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Court filings show both sides agreed to drop all claims with prejudice. That means the case cannot be refiled. The lawsuit stemmed from Mike's repeated claims that Dominion helped rig the 2020 presidential election, allegations the company strongly denied. The dismissal marks a significant end to one of the most closely watched election-related lawsuits stemming from the 2020 presidential race. I am just celebrating the good news coming out of this. Tell us about this legal case and what the latest is.
Well, here it is, everybody. This is the second one now. Remember, the evidence, the $5 million challenge got overturned last summer, and they said Mike was right. This is all about the voting machine evidence. And now yesterday, if you don't see it in the news, they did one article out there from Law and Crime. Dominion dropped the lawsuit against Mike Lindell and MyPillow. That was it yesterday. So, and I just want everybody to know it doesn't mean anything that I'm going to stop fighting these voting machine companies to, it was a nice gesture, but we are going to go, we're all in to get them, get rid of them, get to paper ballots hand counted. And here I'm going to announce right now, it should be within the next half hour. We're going to be posting on Lindell TV, everybody. It's 800-page historical drop of the voting machine evidence. This has never been seen before. A lot of it you might have. We have bits and pieces were out there. This has been compiled over the last 5 years. This will be right here on Lindell TV. It'll be posted, like I say, in about 20 minutes. We're doing a press release on it, and anyone that ever tells you then, Vanessa, that ever says, oh, there's no evidence, this is like a library. It's a historical library with 500 and some, articles and 100% evidence that back each thing up. This was actually part of this given to the president when he was told by, when he walked off that's reporter a few weeks ago, and he retruthed it. So it's a very exciting day. We're going to tie in, all this stuff going on. And then, but it is people, it is a relief for me that I don't have to, MyPillow, which never did anything when Dominion sued them for $1.3 billion with a B, everybody. And my employees had to sit and worry about that because their CEO is out there practicing his free speech. And so this is a big relief. So we got 2 down. We are also appealing. The appeal just went out. It'll go out today. The Colorado case that MyPillow won a year ago. Vanessa, you were there. MyPillow won, and this is the last piece of that where we're putting in the appeal, and hopefully they rule on that very fast. It seems like the voting machine companies are falling like dominoes here. And then we have the last one you'll see in the news, Smartmatic here in Minneapolis. That's like a parked car. It's sitting there because if everybody remembers, the judge made a ruling before even going to trial that I defamed them. And then a week later, it came out that Smartmatic is in fact committing crimes with their company, with their voting machines and against other countries. And a lot of that'll be coming out too. But that was funny with that one because I'm going, okay, a week after this judge makes this ruling here in Minneapolis, it all comes out that, yes, it's a criminal organization, basically. It's like I defamed the mafia, right? I figured it'd be like my cousin Vinny going, okay, in light of the new evidence, case dismissed. But according to my lawyers, that's now how it is. It can just sit there like a parked car, and judges can sit on it as long as they want.
Begin today with
breaking
news.
What's moving online right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's June 26, 2026. Tonight's top story begins in Venezuela, where rescue crews are racing through the rubble after powerful earthquakes left entire communities in crisis. Early reports say as many as 40,000 people may be missing, with fears the death toll could climb dramatically as crews reach collapsed buildings and isolated areas. The scale of destruction has turned this into a major regional disaster, and the first rescue window is closing fast. U.S. Southern Command is now surging forces to support earthquake relief efforts in Venezuela. Southcom says American military assets are being used to assist with logistics, airlift, search and rescue support, and disaster response coordination. The mission is focused on reaching survivors, moving supplies, and helping stabilize the hardest-hit areas as rescue teams fight time, terrain, and damaged infrastructure. Now to domestic politics, where President Donald Trump is again pressing House Republicans to stop dividing themselves and move the agenda. Trump warned Republicans not to vote down rules or stall legislation over internal disputes, saying the party cannot give Democrats an opening. His message was clear: unify, stop grandstanding, and get the work done. President Trump is also sharpening his warning about socialism and communism inside American politics. After left-wing primary victories in New York City, Trump said the communists are finally making their move. He framed the fight as a direct battle between earned prosperity and government control, warning that promises of free benefits always come at someone else's expense. Trump continued that message in a series of Truth Social posts, tying the rise of Democratic Socialist candidates to a larger ideological fight. His argument is that socialism sells itself as compassion, but depends on taking from those who work, build, and produce. The message is becoming a central piece of the Republican response heading into the next political cycle. Veteran Democratic strategist James Carville is sounding the alarm inside his own party after the New York City primaries. Carville warned that socialist candidates may win in deep blue districts but can damage Democrats nationally. His message to the party was blunt: if socialists want to run on that platform, they should form their own party instead of pulling Democrats further left. Other veteran Democrat strategists are delivering the same warning. The rise of socialist candidates is creating a public split between establishment Democrats and the activist left. The concern is not just one race. It is whether the Democratic Party is becoming defined by candidates who are popular in activist circles, but risky in broader elections. On The View, Sonny Hostin celebrated the rise of Democratic Socialists after the New York primary results. Hostin praised the movement's momentum and compared it to earlier political waves that reshaped American politics. Her comments show that some media voices now see democratic socialism as a serious force inside the party, while older Democratic strategists see it as a warning sign. Conservative commentators are accusing liberals of being allergic to facts in debates over immigration, crime, socialism, the economy, and national security. The argument is that public policy cannot be built on slogans while ignoring crime data, border numbers, court rulings, and basic economic reality. That fight over facts is becoming one of the main dividing lines in American politics. President Trump is praising Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas, calling him a great Republican senator who gets the job done. Trump thanked Marshall publicly and highlighted him as a reliable ally. Marshall remains active on healthcare, agriculture, border security, and conservative policy fights, and Trump's endorsement signals continued support for Republicans who back his agenda. President Trump has announced the nomination of Chris Klomp to serve as Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services. Klomp has held senior healthcare leadership roles and would become the second-ranking official at HHS under Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The nomination points to continued restructuring inside federal health policy and the administration's effort to reshape the department's direction. Stephen Miller is renewing the push to end birthright citizenship for children of illegal immigrants and temporary visa holders. The issue is tied to President Trump's executive order and a major constitutional fight over the 14th Amendment. Miller argues that citizenship must be protected from abuse and that immigration law cannot reward unlawful entry. Tom Homan is defending President Trump's immigration record, saying no one has done it better. Homan points to deportations, border enforcement, and cooperation between federal and state authorities as proof that the administration is taking immigration seriously. His message is that border security is not just a campaign issue. It is a public safety and national security issue. Homan is also warning Americans that immigration enforcement is about more than headlines. He says federal officers are targeting unlawful entry, criminal networks, and policies that weakened enforcement. His message is direct. The public needs to understand the scale of the problem, the pressure on local communities, and the need for consistent federal action. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for the Trump administration to revive a restrictive asylum policy at the southern border. The ruling gives the administration another tool to limit how migrants seek asylum and strengthens the White House's position in the larger immigration fight. The Department of Homeland Security called the decision an important win for border security. The Supreme Court also allowed the Trump administration to end temporary protected status for large groups of Haitian and Syrian immigrants. The decision affects hundreds of thousands of people who had been allowed to live and work in the United States under humanitarian protections. The ruling strengthens executive authority over immigration status decisions and gives the administration room to move forward. The Supreme Court handed down a major set of rulings touching immigration, roundup lawsuits, and Hawaii gun restrictions. The immigration decisions backed Trump administration authority, the roundup decision affected product liability litigation, and the Hawaii gun ruling addressed limits on carrying firearms on certain private property open to the public. Together, the rulings marked a major legal day on federal power, state regulation, and individual rights. The Senate has rejected a measure that would have restricted President Trump's authority over Iran-related military action. The vote came as tensions with Iran remain high and debate continues over war powers. Supporters of the president's position say the commander-in-chief needs flexibility, while the failed measure shows that Congress remains divided on how tightly to limit military action.
At shop.isawaya.com, everything you buy supports Qnotables, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our Qn Honey Pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toast or in tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's Qn Butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off Qn's tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isawaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help Qnotables keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
Start your day right with Ahoy the Ship Show, where real talk meets real energy. No fluff, no filter, just stories, opinions, and moments that matter. Catch us live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Your daily launch point for what you need to know, and a few things you didn't. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Switch gears with Night Owl News Archives. A laid-back dive into the week's biggest headlines and hidden gems. Miss a show? Visit don'tdeletemebro.com for notes, highlights, and extras. Tap in or get left behind.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's June 26, 2026. Now to election integrity. Dominion Voting Systems, now operating as Liberty Vote, has settled and dismissed its $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit against Mike Lindell and MyPillow. The case was one of the most high-profile legal battles tied to claims about the 2020 election. The settlement is confidential, and the dismissal with prejudice means the case cannot be filed again. The Save America Act remains at the center of the election security debate. Supporters say the bill is needed to require proof of citizenship for federal elections, strengthen voter ID standards, and restore confidence in the system. Election security advocates argue that the time for waiting is over and that Congress must act before another election cycle moves forward. Supporters are also pressing Republican leadership to make the Save America Act a must-pass priority. The bill has become a key demand from conservatives who want federal elections secured through citizenship verification and stronger voter safeguards. The fight is now inside Congress, where supporters say Republican leaders must stop delaying and force the issue. Now to international conflict. Tensions in the Strait of Hormuz are rising after a commercial vessel was attacked near Oman, forcing a pause in a ship evacuation effort through the region. Iran has reasserted its claimed role in controlling passage through the strait, while the United States and Gulf partners continue pressing for free navigation through one of the world's most important energy corridors. Iranian leaders are also using sharper language over the Strait of Hormuz. The Speaker of Iran's parliament warned that regional stability depends on recognition of Iran's role in the waterway. The message from Tehran is clear. Iran wants leverage in any agreement governing passage through the strait, and it is tying that leverage directly to maritime security. France has seized another tanker linked to Russia's shadow fleet near Sicily. French officials say the vessel was operating in violation of maritime rules and was part of a network used to move Russian oil around Western sanctions. President Emmanuel Macron says Europe will continue targeting ships that help finance Moscow's war effort through hidden or irregular shipping routes. An Israeli military helicopter carrying President Isaac Herzog was forced to make an emergency landing after a bird strike. Israeli officials say no one was injured and no major damage was reported. Herzog continued his schedule in a replacement helicopter after the aircraft landed safely at an Air Force base. Now to crime and public safety. A top FBI official is warning that drone attacks inside the United States are no longer theoretical. Federal authorities have already tracked foreign-linked drone threats, prison smuggling operations, and attempted security breaches involving unmanned aircraft. The warning is that cheap, fast, and hard-to-detect drones are becoming a serious security problem for law enforcement. The Justice Department has charged 12 people accused of using heavy-lift drones to smuggle contraband into federal prisons. Prosecutors say the operation moved drugs, cell phones, and weapons into multiple facilities across several states. The case shows how criminal networks are adapting new technology to bypass traditional prison security and create new risks inside federal facilities. An illegal alien has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for involvement in an $89 million payroll scheme tied to construction workers. Federal prosecutors say the operation used illegal labor and financial fraud to move large sums through the system. The case raises concerns over labor trafficking, tax avoidance, and criminal exploitation inside parts of the construction industry. The Justice Department has announced a major fraud crackdown involving hundreds of defendants and billions of dollars in alleged healthcare and COVID-related schemes. Federal officials say the cases target billing fraud, false claims, and organized abuse of taxpayer-funded programs. DOJ is sending the message that investigators are moving aggressively against large-scale fraud draining public resources. The federal trial connected to the Palisades fire remains unresolved after a Los Angeles jury reported it was deadlocked. The defendant is accused of starting one of California's most destructive wildfires, while the defense challenged the government's theory. The case continues as the judge and attorneys weigh the next steps after the jury failed to reach a verdict. A U.S. diplomat found dead in Myanmar was stabbed to death, and his ex-wife is now facing proceedings tied to the case. The diplomat was found at a hotel in Yangon near the U.S. Embassy. Court reporting says the suspect faces immigration charges and is accused in connection with the killing. A viral outbreak at Joint Base San Antonio-Lackland has sickened more than 275 recruits, with several hospitalized. The outbreak is raising health readiness concerns in crowded military training environments, where illness can spread quickly through barracks and training units. Military medical teams are working to contain the spread and protect recruits still in training. The USDA has released fiscal year 2025 SNAP payment error rates, reporting a national rate of 10.62%. That is well above the 6% threshold set by Congress. Payment errors include overpayments and underpayments. But the numbers raise serious questions about state-level administration, eligibility checks, and accountability in one of America's largest food assistance programs.
Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Boards, May 29, 2026, now to crime and public safety. A global child exploitation platform known as KidFlix was taken down in a major international operation involving authorities from more than 35 countries. Europol said the site had nearly 2 million users and hosted a massive amount of child sexual abuse material. Investigators say some users did more than view content. They also abused children. This is one of the largest child exploitation crackdowns in recent years. A Texas man has been arrested after allegedly threatening to bomb a Turning Point USA event and kill Erica Kirk. Police say Jacob Wensky made online threats tied to the upcoming Women's Leadership Summit in San Antonio. Authorities track the posts using digital records, and the event is expected to move forward with increased security. Political threats are being treated as serious domestic security matters. Italian police have seized more than $200 million in assets tied to late mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro. Authorities say the fortune came from drug trafficking and was reinvested through properties, cash, gold, and international holdings. Denaro was one of Italy's most notorious crime figures before his arrest and death. The seizure is being treated as a major strike against organized crime wealth. A resurfaced judicial scandal is drawing attention after reports that an Obama-appointed judge accused of inappropriate conduct in chambers remains on the bench. The case is being used as another example of accountability problems inside the judiciary. Judges hold enormous power, and misconduct allegations should not disappear because the person wears a robe. Independent footage from a New York City anti-ICE protest is drawing attention after protesters were confronted on camera. These street-level encounters matter because they show the gap between activist slogans and real immigration enforcement concerns. With sanctuary policies, ICE raids, and deportation fights back in the headlines, protests are becoming a visible pressure point in the national border security debate. Protect the homeland is the message moving through the feed, and it fits the pattern of the day. Border security, foreign missile threats, terror attacks, election interference, cybercrime, and cartel money all point in the same direction. A nation that cannot protect its people, borders, infrastructure, and elections is not secure. Homeland defense is now the central political issue. Now to technology, space, and institutional power. Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket exploded during a pre-launch static fire test at Cape Canaveral, creating a major setback for Jeff Bezos' space company. No injuries were reported, and officials said the incident is under investigation. New Glenn is central to Blue Origin's commercial launch plans and future NASA-related work, making this a serious failure at a critical point in the company's space race with SpaceX. Quantum Space is drawing attention for work tied to spacecraft systems that could support President Trump's Space Force priorities. The company's model focuses on platforms and infrastructure beyond Earth orbit, which fits the growing military and commercial focus on space. The larger issue is clear. Space is no longer just exploration. It is communications, defense, surveillance, and national power. Aliens.gov is now live through the White House, but the twist is that it is not really about extraterrestrials. The site uses science fiction language to point users toward illegal immigration data, ICE arrest maps, and reporting tools. The page says, "They walk among us. then pivots into immigration enforcement messaging. The rollout blends viral marketing, policy messaging, and border enforcement in one unusual package. The White House also posted cryptic from the Q Research Board's June 26, 2026, Now to Tech and Economic Power. Elon Musk reposted criticism of the judiciary as the national debate continues over court power, injunctions, and judges blocking executive actions. The post fits into a larger political fight over whether courts are serving as a constitutional check or interfering with elected leadership. That fight is now central to several Trump administration legal battles. Elon Musk is also at the center of a major financial move, with SpaceX executing a $25 billion bond sale connected to clearing Twitter loans and XAI bridge financing. The sale points to the scale of Musk's business empire and the financial engineering behind SpaceX, X, and XAI. It also shows how closely tech, debt markets, and private space power are now linked. Schools are facing a new cheating problem after a YouTuber reportedly aced a math test in just 18 minutes using AI glasses. The incident shows how wearable artificial intelligence can change classrooms, testing, and academic integrity almost overnight. Teachers are now facing a reality where cheating tools can be built into glasses, earbuds, phones, and real-time AI systems. A Windows 11 file management tip is drawing attention from users with massive meme, image, and video folders. The issue is simple. Thousands of files in one folder can slow down load times and make browsing painful. Better organization, indexing control, folder sorting, and separating files by year, month, and category can make large archives much faster to use. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is laying out what he calls the 5 pillars of economic statecraft. The message focuses on using trade, finance, sanctions, supply chains, and investment power to protect American interests. The larger point is that economic policy is now national security policy, especially in competition with China, Russia, and other strategic rivals. A watchdog report alleges that a red state university trained executives tied to China's defense sector. The report raises national security concerns over American academic partnerships, executive education programs, and links to foreign military-connected industries. The issue adds to the growing debate over how U.S. schools, research institutions, and companies should handle relationships with entities connected to China's defense apparatus. Now to the closing segment, America 250. The Great American State Fair has opened in Washington, D.C., launching a major public celebration of America's 250th anniversary. The event on the National Mall features state exhibits, patriotic displays, food, entertainment, and family attractions. Organizers are presenting it as a national showcase of American history, culture, industry, and independence. A huge crowd turned out to kick off America's 250th anniversary celebration. The Great American State Fair brings together states, territories, military displays, historical exhibits, and patriotic programming ahead of July 4th. The opening marks the start of a national event focused on America's founding, endurance, and future. President Trump used the America 250 kickoff to declare that the United States is back as the country approaches its 250th year of independence. His speech framed the anniversary as more than a historical milestone. It was presented as a moment of national renewal centered on patriotism, strength, military power, and pride in the American story. President Trump says July 4th will feature major military flyovers as part of America's 250th anniversary celebration. Aircraft displays are expected to play a central role in the Washington festivities, including modern fighter jets and other military aircraft. The flyovers are being promoted as a large-scale tribute to American air power, service members, and American independence. President Trump says the rally crowd for the America 250 kickoff was packed, estimating attendance at least 45,000. The event drew both in-person spectators and a large online and television audience. The crowd size became part of the larger White House message. America is entering its 250th year with visible patriotic energy and national momentum. America 250 has been years in the making, and the celebration is now moving from planning into public events. The semi-quincentennial marks 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Events across the country will focus on founding history, civic education, military service, local communities, and the story of American independence. Representative Harriet Hageman is honoring America 250 with a message focused on the nation's founding, endurance, and constitutional system. Her tribute places the anniversary in the larger context of American self-government and the responsibility of each generation to preserve liberty. Her message joins a wave of congressional and state-level recognition ahead of July 4th. The Department of Homeland Security is marking America's 250th anniversary by honoring the nation's security, sovereignty, and founding legacy. DHS is tying the anniversary to protection of the homeland and the work of federal officers across the country. The theme is national celebration backed by vigilance, public safety, and defense of the Republic. A special national anthem and cannon celebration helped open America 250 events in Washington. The ceremony blended military tradition, public performance, and historical symbolism as the country approaches 250 years of independence. The cannon salute and anthem set the tone for a celebration centered on history, service, and American pride. The America 250 Freedom Truck is showcasing American history through a traveling mobile museum. The exhibit brings the story of the Revolution, the 13 colonies, and the fight for independence directly to communities. Organizers say the goal is to make founding history interactive, accessible, and meaningful for families, students, and visitors across the country. One America 250 feature is putting 18th century military tactics next to 21st century firepower. The display connects the weapons, formations, and battlefield realities of the Revolutionary era with the technology and capability of the modern U.S. military. It is a direct reminder of how far America's defense forces have developed since the founding generation fought for independence. RSBN is featuring state displays from the Great American State Fair, giving viewers a closer look at how different parts of the country are represented during America 250. The coverage highlights local culture, state pride, historical themes, and patriotic exhibits. For viewers who cannot attend in person, the broadcasts provide a window into the national celebration on the Mall. Opening day coverage of the Great American State Fair showed the scale of the America 250 event in Washington. The fair spans a major section of the National Mall and includes exhibits, food, entertainment, state showcases, and patriotic programming. The event runs from June 25th through July 10th, making it a centerpiece of the 250th anniversary kickoff. The Lincoln Memorial's hidden Undercroft is opening to the public for the first time as America prepares to celebrate its 250th birthday. The 15,000 square foot space beneath the memorial reveals the massive foundation columns supporting the structure and includes new exhibits on the memorial's construction, history, and civic meaning. It adds a new chapter to one of America's most visited monuments. That is tonight's rundown. Disaster in Venezuela, a major immigration and court push at home, election security back in the spotlight, Iran and Russia, linked shipping tensions overseas, crime and fraud enforcement across the country, new AI and tech concerns, and America preparing to mark 250 years of independence. The story moving through all of it is power, sovereignty, security, and the fight over what kind of country America will be as it enters its next chapter.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. See you soon.